This is Gradowski of WeAreChange.org, joined today with James Corbett of the Corbett Report. And James, I feel like we're growing apart. I never see you again. You're like one of my long ex-girlfriends. I'm like, what's going on? And I just thought, what is James doing? Because I don't see your stuff anywhere. Like, you have a very successful YouTube channel. Your YouTube channel has been taken off for a number of years now. You've been doing really great researched work. We've been knowing each other for way too long, but recently I haven't seen you anywhere. How are you surviving during this kind of new phase of online censorship 2.0, where literally we just saw a bunch of people wiped off, a bunch of people deleted? I know that you have a specific policy where you don't use Facebook at all, but our Facebook page was recently taken down, and it's like, yeah, James, we're joining you on this Facebook ban thing, but not on purpose.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, I haven't seen your work anywhere, and it used to be recommended to me all the time. How are you surviving during this kind of bigger censorship effort, which will lead us to the bigger discussion on Bilderberg that actually talked about this a few years ago?
Yeah.
So how are you surviving?
Well, yeah, that's a good question, and I guess this is part of the feedback that I'll figure it out. Maybe I'm not surviving, because as you say, if you're not getting recommended it anymore, then that is a worrying sign, because obviously they're jiggering with all the algorithms and changing everything so that it's harder to search for my material, but now it's getting so they don't even recommend the material as much. And I've seen this obviously in the view counts to whatever extent you can trust it over the years. I mean, the possibility of going super viral with a video is getting less and less and less, to the point where it's disappearing. And now, as you say, I mean, even people who are subscribed to me on the GooTube, ThemTube, are saying that they don't get the notifications and what have you, blah, blah, blah. I just did a video a couple days ago about this issue, specifically with regards to, I'm on this radio program called Financial Survival every couple weeks. I usually, or sometimes, I do up a video version of it and post it to my Extras YouTube channel. But this time, I uploaded it before I even hit publish. It gets the copyright strike for about 3 seconds of music in the bumper music in the beginning and end of the segments, the radio segments. So literally about total maybe 9 seconds of music in a 40+ minute video gets it copyright blocked completely. So I made a video the other day saying, I'm not going to upload this radio show to YouTube anymore. I'll upload it to BitChute, DTube. All of my videos are available for direct download from my server at CorbettReport.com, but I'm not uploading this particular video to YouTube anymore. And this, as I say, this is just the start. I mean, they're going to make it harder and harder and harder to upload anything or to get anything seen. So I'm telling people for the 8,000th time, if you only follow me on YouTube, you are not going to see me anymore. I'm going to disappear. I'm going to be a thing of the past. Maybe you don't care, but if you do care, you've got to look at some of the other ways you can get my work and Luke's work and everyone else who's doing this work. I'm on BitChute and DTube and other places like that, but best place to go for me is CorbettReport.com, because I upload everything there. My MP3s, my MP4s, everything.
Yeah. And James, you should care. This is extremely important. People don't understand. There's very few individuals that I could be like, yeah, that guy's right on the target. You're one of those few individuals that I look at. I'm like, okay, he's criticizing this and this and this, all the things that a lot of people are afraid to, of course, criticize. You're actually able to go there. And Bilderberg is, of course, one of those topics. But again, this is related to Bilderberg because the system is rigged here in so many different ways. This is why the heads of media go to Bilderberg. This is why tech giants from Facebook, from Amazon, from Google, all go to Bilderberg. Look what's been happening on this channel just by ourselves. You put in my name. I remember Ron Paul interviewed me. Automatically demonetized. Anywhere, any channel, documented all over the place. Al Jazeera stole one of our videos and then put a copyright strike against us and had our own videos taken down. CNN put a fake copyright strike against us, got rid of our live streaming abilities for months. Recently, I was watching the numbers, minus 23,000 views in one day. No notification from YouTube. We don't know what's going on, but minus 23,000 views. And people need to understand here, James, this is another aspect that you kind of talked about it a little bit. Not only are the subscriber counts manipulated with people just being unsubscribed when they didn't unsubscribe, that I'm getting a lot of those notifications, but the view count, just like anything, could be artificially manipulated because it is totally in Google's hands that has been caught manipulating, has been caught playing politics, has been caught being biased. And we have to understand here, every aspect of what we're seeing online, especially if it's in your quote timeline, could be manipulated, including the view counts. What do you think about that? Before we jump into all the technocrats going to Bilderberg and being a part of the larger discussion of Internet ID and all these other things at years and years ago talking about this, and now we're kind of living it.
Yeah. Well, this is why I don't follow the view counts on my videos. I don't look at them on a daily basis. I'm not always checking how many views did this get, because A, that gets me chasing the tail. This got a lot of numbers, these imaginary internet points, so I better talk about this subject more, or talk about this subject less, or tailor what I'm going to talk about for that. I don't want to get into that trap, because that is a trap. And secondly, as I say, who knows? I mean, these numbers could be completely made up, and how would we know? So I don't trust them as far as I can throw them.
Yeah, and you shouldn't. You shouldn't trust anything. The revolution, the evolution, any kind of contrarian knowledge, it's not going to be in your timeline. Jake Paul and all this other nonsense and all these other, I forgot all this. The latest controversy is insane. With some guy trying to turn straight guys gay, and then YouTube promoting him hanging out with the CEO of YouTube, pushing him and promoting him, always being in your. I'm like, this is so manipulated. This is so pushed onto us that it's just absolutely insane. I remember the good old days where literally, your video was the number 5th most viewed in all of news and politics. Here it is. Here's a ranking. That was an honest ranking system where people were like, hey, this is our vote. They got rid of that. Subscribers don't matter. It's all recommended to you. It's all manipulated in so many different ways. But the bigger topic here is, of course, to me, I believe that this was a bigger talking points of a lot of the elites that do attend Bilderberg. If we look at some of their larger kind of talking points, some of their meetings that they officially declared, that they officially put out there, internet freedom was one of them. Talking about technology advancing, going after supposed fake news was on their agenda list before it became the national dialectic, before we saw the mainstream media going out there and attacking independent media for allegedly being fake news. So that's important to understand here, because they're going to be meeting again this year. And this meeting is very unprecedented since, James, we're not hearing anything. We don't even know where it is. Me and Jason, we have our boots strapped in. We're ready to go. Dan Dix, he's probably ready to go too. We're like, okay, but we don't know where it is. Yeah, tell us where to go. So what do you make of this year's Bilderberg in this kind of unprecedented fashion? And what's your kind of take on their kind of larger agendas talking about fake news and internet speech before this major calamity that we're all facing online?
All right. Well, there's no doubt that this is a major talking point in Bilderberg and every other would-be elite conference, I have no doubt. And we can see that if from nothing else than the participation in membership lists over the past decade, we've seen the Peter Thiels and people like that being invited to these conferences. So they're clearly steering it more in a cyber direction, as it only makes sense, because clearly the way to steer the population these days is not through TV and print. Nobody reads anymore. It's all online. So you've got to control that choke point, which is exactly what they are talking about and thinking about, no doubt. But how do we really know what they're discussing in substance? What we are getting from Bilderbergmeetings.org, the official website of Bilderberg. Did you think a decade ago that there would be such a thing? But the official website of Bilderberg publishes their agenda, and it contains, the list of talking points they're going to talk about, and it's all these vague generalities like 2016 cybersecurity. Whatever that means. And then we are left to ponder, this cookie crumb trail that is being left for us by Bilderberg. So I am in this camp that is skeptical about the value of reading the tea leaves of Bilderberg at this point, the tea leaves that they are leaving in the teacup for us to look at. And they could be very much misdirecting us in a lot of different ways. Having said that, every single year I do go through the meeting list and the agenda and the participants and try to scribe those tea leaves for whatever information we can. But my hat's off to you and Dan and people like yourself that go to every single meeting and are the boots on the ground, if for nothing else than just showing that there is opposition to Bilderberg. I mean, we have to physically show that. But in terms of what actual intel we're getting out these years, I don't know. I haven't seen a hell of a lot that's actually helped me predict anything or show anything of substance.
Yeah, of course. Reading the tea leaves is exactly what's happening here. And you would be insane if you look at Bilderberg just on its basis alone and not be skeptical of it. There's a lot of reason to be skeptical with a lot of people who are being called out by independent media, a lot of the bigger industries, a lot of the bigger corporations, a lot of the bigger intel agencies that attend this meeting to not kind of look into, hey, they're meeting with a lot of the technocrats. You think there would be some collusion here? Well,
and, hey, let's throw this in there. In 2015, you and Dan and Jeff Berwick were in the Bilderberg Hotel during lockdown. You got that footage out of the conference room that has teleconferencing. Of course! Do you think they're all physically going to the meeting? No! They're teleconferencing in whoever they want, and those people are not going to be on the participant list. So the participant list are the people they want us to know are at the meetings.
Yeah, it's important to understand that there's a whole bigger perspective here. There's a whole bigger picture here. And again, we're left reading the tea leaves, but there's a lot of nasty little tea leaves in there. There's a lot of things to ponder and look at them, and it's like, hey, this doesn't look right. Especially with kind of the acquiescence and the silence from the mainstream media that it's not critical of this at all. They pretty much have the leading powers in industry going to them and say, yeah, we just talk about golf. There's no politics done here at all. There's no insider trading. There's no insider deals when we have literally Goldman Sachs sitting with Google and Facebook and all these other large institutions and all these other big monopolies out there. No, nothing bad's happening on there. Just trust us. And the mainstream media is, yes. The people who are bad are the people who are outside. Even Peter Thiel told me, he was like, I remember interviewing him. I was like, you're a libertarian. What do you make of all the scrutiny against Bilderberg? And he just said, the people outside are like the Gestapo. And I'm like, what? I'm the one getting my hotel room raided. I'm the one getting threatened out of the city. I'm the one getting spied on. I'm here simply asking you, gentlemen, what's going on here? And you're calling me the Gestapo. Absolutely insane. There were other members who came out and spoke about the agendas and revealed that there was more to the agenda that they were being talked about. Those individuals weren't invited back. But overall, what do you make of the overall silence this year more than ever? And where do you think, because obviously we see the vague agenda rules, but what do you think are going to be some important topics that they would get into, these leaders in industry, from their history?
Well, I mean, we know that in 2002, for example, they called off the Iraq War for fall of 2002 and scheduled it for spring of 2003, which is exactly what happened. We know in 2006 they were talking about tanking of the oil price as part of a general economic event that was coming, a calamitous event. And then, of course, we got the tanking of the oil price and the Lehman collapse and all of that. So I'm sure there are financial issues being discussed. I'm sure there are war issues being discussed. I'm sure Iran will be discussed. Again, whether it's on the agenda or not, probably the more important talks take place in and around and after the conference itself amongst the breakout groups that no doubt happened. But yeah, the silence regarding this meeting and where it's taking place and whatever is puzzling, given that over the past few years, obviously they've been trying to publicize a little bit more, bilderbergmeetings.org and all of this, and announcing ahead of time. They're not doing that this year. That's very strange. Also strange, the only reference to Bilderberg in the MSM in the last few weeks has been Bloomberg, of course, with editor-in-chief John Micklethwaite, a regular attendee. And it's just a passing reference to the Romanian central bank governor being a member of the Bilderberg group, which they describe as, quote, an exclusive global policy club. That's an appellation for you. Exclusive global policy club. Hey guys, let's drink some tea and discuss global policy. Nonsense, of course. So I don't know what that means. I think the only thing that I can conjecture at this point is they tried to roll it out full on public. Hey, we're public. We've got this website. Here's the agenda. Here's the participants. We'll post it for everyone to see so that it's not, people can't claim we're so secretive. But no one really cared in the MSM world, in the normie world. So now maybe they're going back to the secrecy of old. I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting step. And if anything, this does speak to the fact that they don't want big crowds of people out there protesting like we did have several years ago that unfortunately we don't anymore.
Yep. And there was a huge crowd, and sadly, a lot of even the alternative supposed media, they're just turning their backs on it and kind of cheerleading a lot of the bigger globalist policies when they were, supposedly against it. But that's a whole nother topic. We're going to be out there. And of course, as you just said, they're trying to get less and less press out there, but they're also, answering emails. They have a website, but at the same time, independent journalists literally have their hotel rooms raided. I had my hotel room raided. There was another journalist last year that had a gun put to his head. There was cops were coming up to me, harassing me, literally talking about terrorist bombs. And I'm like, trying to intimidate me from just simply standing outside, not doing anything illegal, and just trying to document what was happening. So there's so many cases of just strong arm kind of thuggery that happens outside that definitely doesn't play into this whole nothing's happening, it's all innocent here. Then why are you treating journalists like criminals for simply trying to report on it? That's the bigger question that I wanted to leave everyone with. We're fundraising just to get out there and get Jason Burmis out there. No matter where it is, we're going to be out there, and we want to thank all of you guys for allowing us to do that.